engineers and all those things. For us, see, if you see the production process, for us, what has changed now? The way we sell, or the way we meet the customers has changed. So we are primarily a B2B company, and the way we are meeting now our first line customers, like our distributors and dealers, that has changed a lot. And how are we delivering, value to our channels? That has changed. That has seen a lot of sea change in the way we conduct our business with our people. Meeting. There are a lot of the way we meet our customers now, the way we meet, and how a lot of things has changed in terms of maybe. And it is all about the plywood business is all about being very, very personal. It's all very, very personal. So you need to be there at the sites. You need to be meeting customers, and you need to be meeting dealers. All those changes have become virtual. I mean, we have been telling our people also to use a lot of video calls now happening with us. A lot of like launches that we need to do with our customers and dealers, or the schemes that we want to launch. So we are using a lot of applications of maybe Zoom meetings and other meetings. The way we conduct our businesses with our people, it is gone on Teams. It's virtually gone on Teams. All review meetings and all those things has happened. And now, what good thing about this thing is, maybe earlier when I was meeting my team members, I used to meet my zonal managers or regional managers. Now there is a wider audience. Maybe I get to meet all my down the line people now. I'm able to, we are able to convey to them what are the policies, like the way if I'm wanting to conduct a business, or I'm wanting to, maybe give my thoughts to my people, it is now becoming direct. That is now becoming direct. It's very, very useful for us because there are a lot of confidence. We see our boys. It's a huge, large team. We were never able to see our boys. Once in a year, we were able to see. Now it is happening in a quarter. We are able to see them, their body language, and need to understand them. So that has become better. So, I mean, if you ask me post-COVID, our business, the way we are, conducting business with our people, our own people, it has become better. And a lot of things, a lot of pain areas we are able to understand now from the guys. When we are somebody is telling something to his manager, he tells to his regional manager or other zonal manager. And when it comes to us, it is all, it is filtered with their own biases. Now it is very, very direct. So we are able to, that has really helped us. That way it has helped us. Meeting our customers, I mean, I'm talking about dealers and all. So all those things has, because there are a lot of things now. I need not go to a dealer and meet now. If I got a dealer in Coimbatore or in Hyderabad or in Guwahati, earlier you go once in a year and meet them. Now at a click of this thing, we just meet them. So business has become better for us. And it was one of the reasons why we could get onto our feet very fast after this COVID thing. So today, if you see, we are at almost 95% of our capacity. So it is very good for us. That way, it has helped us as a company. It has helped. This is my perspective from my business point of view. And in different industries, I think it has really helped people. That is what it is.
Great. So what I hear, Harmeet, from Atul is that there's a lot of people connect despite not it being there physically.
Yeah, physically, yes.
Yeah. So the last mile really has improved a lot, if I have to see from that.
Absolutely.
So Harmeet, what are you witnessing in the sales cycle over the last 6 months?
First of all, thank you, Creating Values, for giving me an opportunity to come on this platform. A beautiful word instead of webinar, Cubinar, what you have used.
That's very nice. Yeah.
Okay. Now, since I've been into different, from sales and marketing, hardcore sales and marketing guy, the kind of the topic which we're talking about, leveraging about sales and marketing, the technology way it has, effective all of us during this pandemic time. Sales and marketing has been very, very broad, terminology for technology. It would vary, it would different from industry to industry, area to area. So no doubt, most of us have felt a lot of disruption in our work during this period. But again, we already have experienced a lot more digital transformation, which has happened during this period around about 6 to 8 months. especially in last 1 month, which is much, much more than the last 20 years, which we would have experienced. While businesses have been, suffering losses due to closures and quarantines, but there have been different areas. There are much, much more bigger areas in our economy which have really gone very well. They're not only innovating, but they're also growing at this during this period. And I'm sure this would have long-lasting effect, and it would continue to do that. Some of these areas which have grown well, who've been innovating, has been like telecom, internet, supply chain, for that matter. Then you have healthcare, pharmaceuticals, to name a few. There are many others which have really changed their, they have digitized, they have gone into a lot of transformation. And the important thing which I would like to highlight here is there are many other companies who never had done some kind of digitalization have now done the same. They have implemented a lot much which they have never done in the past. They're not doing it for, I would not use the word forcibly. They are they're doing this for the matter of survival now. Because in this kind of a period, you need to survive. You have to keep a balance so that you can grow, you can survive and grow parallelly. Today, we aggressively do, like Atul correctly mentioned, we have a lot of, collaborator tools like video conferencing and much more, which we've been doing. We've been ordering food over the internet. We've been, doing much engagement over the internet now. So again, we have adapted new solutions, and this will continue to exist even these after the crisis are over. Biggest gainers like we have Zomato, Swiggy's, and others who have gone much more beyond what they were doing. Their sales revenues have increased. Same way, e-com business, which always been for last 3 to 4 years, or rather I would say 5 years, it has given a lot of impetus to the business for many companies. That has to an extent mitigated the risk and the losses which many companies were having it during this period. I had even, like I said, this would have different industries. The impact would be different, or different industries would have different areas where they can continue to grow. I heard, like, I would just like to highlight a few examples here. Like in retail, banking, education, entertainment, for that matter, there are different models which have been implemented. So I'm giving a very generic view here, not specific to any industry, because it has sales and marketing, like I said, is very, very broad terminology. In retail, I had heard that there are many companies who are now using robots. One of my friends visited a store where in Chennai, the robots are being used. Even I'm sure you would have experienced in Delhi, where robots have been used to dispense sanitizers. So, and even they are following, the customers, whosoever is coming, they are also guiding and making them understand and maintain those key points which they should do during the COVID period. So like maintaining the social distance. Then coming on to payments, non-payments, which has gone in payment collections. So no touch payments, they have increased. Payment over the UPI. So these are all part of technology which has been evolving, and they have really picked up very, very well during this last 6 to 8 months. Educators, professionals, both have utilized this technology to their best. I'm sure most of us have experience where the sales of hardware in terms of notebooks, PCs, printers, they have grew, I think, if I'm not wrong, what I have studied, around about 64% growth. I'm talking about the economy worldwide. There has been a 64% growth in terms of revenue for notebooks. And even for the PC, there have been a lot of gainers, PC, laptops, and all that. So given a point that how this technology has impacted us, there have been good and bads, but the way these changes have happened, the growths have happened, these are going to have a long-lasting effect. Entertainment industry, no cinema halls, everybody is at home. So what has happened? The OTT platforms have grown. The revenues for these companies have grown. They are increasing their, more and more channels. They're getting into more and more programs. So in nutshell, in summary, I would say that the mindset and the behaviors have already started to change as a consumer, or for most of us. Clear, the world will never be the same what we were today, or which we were earlier, or which we are today. Things are going to change, and after we stabilize these basic services, we will likely to change our targets for innovation and policies. I'm sure, like you, Atul mentioned, you have already implemented the changes. These changes will be implemented across most of the companies for the better world, for the better economy, for the better growth of all of us.
Thank you, Harmeet. I would say.
I also, Anshul, I just want to add one more point here. It is what I am feeling now. People have become more accessible to us, despite being so far off. I've realized that thing. Maybe when I wanted to, my guys, they want to go and meet some influencer or whatever. Earlier, what used to happen, they will not give appointments. Okay. Now they are very, very okay with talking on having a WhatsApp call. There's no issues of sanitization, or they don't have any fear now. So when you just give a text to them, yes, I want to have a call with you for 5 minutes, they are okay with that. They're okay. Then person will himself call up. Talking to our dealers and distributors. Earlier, at a just click of a button, you might want to talk somebody or texting something, or you might have sent an EDM through a WhatsApp or something, and that guy immediately calls you on, say, WhatsApp video call or something, and they want to discuss. So earlier this thing was not happening. So people have people have got used to this thing, and they understand that this thing is going to be there, and this is a good way. So the companies which are able to have good connect with their customers will thrive. And that is the way it is, because earlier it was a very different situation.
Yes, certainly. In fact, the acceptability of digital platforms, as you stated, and as Harmeet spoke about the entire industries, that has tremendously got increased. I would say that consumer mindset has changed forever. So when companies talk about for a prolonged work from home, and now there's a new term floating around, it's not work from home, it's work from anywhere. So
yes.
Vivek from the last 3 months is in Hyderabad.
Oh.
So it's really work from anywhere. It's not work from home though. So I would say that's the flexibility, and that's the mindset shift which has really creeped in. And I'm sure that there would be some teething problems here and there, but yes, certainly I think everything is going to be great with the thing, moving forward.
People are managing with it fast now, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
One thing more, Anshul, sorry I'm interrupting you here. For the people like us, those who are into sales, a face-to-face or a personal meetings are always better.
Yes.
For me, I think unless I meet a customer, I have an engagement with the person on one-on-one basis or face-to-face, I'm not contented. But again, it depends upon the customer today. If he has a limitation, he doesn't want to call me, I'm okay with that. But I would still love to travel, love to meet. At the same time, no doubt, this transformation is for the good only.
Absolutely. So let me move to the second question, Atul, and let me start with you, and then I would come to Vivek. So Atul, in the next year of 2021, once this entire 2020 settles down, what are the key emerging technologies you feel probably would be more useful and create an impact for the sales and marketing domains? And how should organizations really move forward to adopt them?
See, I personally feel, AI is going to be, impacting the entire process very much. A lot of it is already there in some ways. It is already there. Maybe, but now what is going to happen now? Earlier, what was I'm talking about Salesforce. We talk about Salesforce. It was already there. All those things, all those BI interactions, and all those things were there. But now these things will increase to it's going to go to another level now. Organizations, because this is going to become the new thing, which has to be there with everybody. Maybe I am talking about in one of my previous organizations, when this was almost 6 years back, when we gave a tab to everybody, to all the sales guys, and when we said this Samsung this thing, whatever tab is there, and you need to send reports and all those things, real time, location, dealer, they're sitting with the dealer or retailer, They need to do it there, that then and there. It was a very difficult time, that point in time, for people to understand. But now that has become normal, because that is so much of controls the organization started happening. And maybe one more thing, like SEO, and per pay click, PPC, all those concepts, because now everything is going to happen like this. Organization which have never done these kind of things will have to do it, because that is the way things are going to happen now. You're not meeting you. That is, all these things are going to take this thing to another level, for any organization for that matter. All those things are going to be there. So I personally feel all these organizations which don't move with all these new concepts and all those things now will have a very, very difficult time, irrespective of the industry. I mean, irrespective of industry, even the most basic industries, all those things, they will have to do all those things. That is going to be there.
Thank you, Atul.
Especially
Vivek,
main B2B, I think, sorry. I mean,
B2B.
especially for a B2B organization, this is going to be like that.
Sure. So Vivek, Atul talked about the way it is going to get changed. He talked about stuff like AI and all, and mainly in terms of the B2B space. What are your thoughts? And are those also around B2B, or do you see a mix of flavor for B2B and B2C both?
Anshul, the way I see it is, your technology-driven sales and marketing approaches, they've done two things. One is, of course, greater efficiency in the ultimate goal, which is to sell more. But it's not only about selling, but rather uncovering opportunities in terms of how can you do things differently, and how can things be grown exponentially further. So you're possibly uncovering things which we might not have seen a decade earlier as such.
Yes,
To pick up on pieces of what was discussed with regards to tabs being used from a B2B concept as well. Similarly, a lot of organizations these days, they are also incorporating what is your predictive analytics. Now, the whole idea is you need to manage your entire sales pipeline management. How can you forecast better? All those sort of pieces. Similarly, machine learning, so right from hiring people with better skill sets, to selecting and prioritizing sales prospects, data analysis. Ultimate goal, I would say, would be to removing the removing the repetitive tasks, so that can be automated, and allowing sales reps to possibly focus on more promising prospects. Of course, from a B2C perspective as well, the technology is very clearly visible these days. In fact, we would go to any banking portal, you would always end up interacting with the chatbot first rather than the sales representative himself. I understand that sometimes it could be a little frustrating interacting with an AI-based robot who doesn't seem to understand what your exact requirement is. But of course, with the greater enhancements in technologies, with deep learning coming up, all those sort of teething issues will also get taken care of. One of the major technologies which I would see, maybe if not in the immediate 5 years, at least in the next 10 to 15 years, would be blockchain. Yes, the use cases of blockchain, especially from a sales and marketing perspective, could be slightly limited. But every technology incorporation and advancement and possibly using it at the ground level takes a lot of time. I mean, we really never imagined that your mobile devices and tabs and PDAs are going to be the lifeline of all salespeople. But that's where we are today. So it's like a roadmap which you have to have for the future. It will take time for organizations to adapt. But the only one thing which I would always say is, technology is like a great growling engine of change. So change is always difficult, but that's what organizations need to do. You have to adapt to the changing times.
absolutely.
Thank you, Vivek. I think you really nailed it. And one of the pieces, Atul, in fact, just to add to what you and Vivek pulled it up over here, and Vivek, just taking a clue from what Vivek said in terms of the sales force in itself, not technology. I think the next 2021 would be a year wherein a lot of organizations would focus on hiring, especially with a good amount of assessment of the digital, I would say, acumen of the people also. So your
Yes, yes.
sales force has to be very, very digitally aligned. So it's whether you deal in the wood panel industry, he or she may be absolutely brilliant in that, but it would also determine the result. Their result of the success would also be determined on their digital literacy. And I think the digital literacy would matter a lot in the 2021 era.
And people are adapting also, Anshul, now. I
Yeah.
mean, we work with all youngsters and all those things. And, maybe the kind of product that we deal in, the kind of industry that we deal in, when you talk about people, you might think that they might not know all these things.
Mm.
They're so savvy. They're so savvy. When you need to just give them concept and they understand it very well. So what you are saying is perfectly right. And, this is been in the mandate that we are giving to the HR also. This is one point we have already told them. This is what we need because this is where the organizations are going to go or the things
Absolutely.
that systems are going to go.
Absolutely. So, Harmeet, my next question is to you. What are the top key things or suggestions which probably you feel should be there for the strategy in 2021 for the sales and marketing?
Anshu, like I said, it will be again different for different industries, varies from areas to areas. Uh, for everyone, I think it's going to be more serious technology adoptions in our all scenario. I mean, unless you have new technology adoptions, you cannot survive in the coming years. For example, like I quoted earlier, also banking, which is becoming even Atul has Vivek quoted about the robotics. I mean, we get into all that kind of chat box. Banking is very, very important. I mean, it takes digital, and we talk about non-contact doorstep, doorstep banking, uh, cashless payments, and all that. So that is going to be very important. Banks are already doing a lot much into that. From FMCG perspective, retailers will have to adopt new ways and means where they can be more closer to the customers. It could be ways and means where they have to adopt new ways where they don't lose the customers. We know they already, and the retail has been in India, which has been the biggest mover of the business, and that's where, I mean, that is much governed by the consumer behavior actually. So in that way, I think they will have to automate ways. They have to correct their supply chain methods, more and more technology. They've already done like in terms of implementing handle terminals, getting into a lot good more software applications. Another key area, which I think during COVID, which we felt, which most of the countries probably not to leave India from that perspective, is healthcare. Healthcare has been something which we need a lot of improvement, and I'm sure this would lead to. Today, like we can develop new ways. We were doing this conferencing, so doctors could be getting into the video conferencing mode. The treatments, the first level treatments, can at least be given on the video conferencing. Some kind of small ailments can be managed over the video conferencing itself. And if this is there, why not to explore the possibility and extending this to the rural areas? It's something which we have always, ignored. A lot of initiatives have been taken in the past, but nothing concrete has been, done as of today. Can we do? Can this level of automation be extended to the rural areas, where with some kind of the changes which are happening with automation, we could also extend, good treatments to the rural area, especially for the first levels. Now, if we improve on that, I'm sure there's a lot much which we can do. Lot of retailers in Delhi also have seen, or if I talk about top retailers, Marks Spencer's and many more, they've started engaging on the social media with the customers. You would receive a lot of offers on the WhatsApp, or they could do that over the Facebook or Twitter today. Somewhere in jewelers, like they've even started doing video shopping. Especially, I think South has been taking a lead on that. They have already gone, and there are lot many. I'm not too sure. I think Tanishq also had plans. So if they have done it or not, I'm not aware of it. But there are few jewelers down south who have already implemented these kind of, sales over the or called as video shopping. There are many customers who are buying these products now, and online has been there, but with the video shopping, they're doing it, and I am sure they would try to implement in the long term also. So does it mean these all big shops or the big retailers, maybe different mom and pop stores, I'm not talking about, the local retailers, like in Delhi, we have qualities and much more, to name few. Should they limit the expansion of their stores? Should they come up with small stores, satellite stores, and focus more on online stores? There's a lot much which, or the satellite stores, which we can put it as. So I think there's a lot much which we need to think about it. There's a lot much which we have to ponder how we can, improve this technology and implement this in 2021. So we've been talking all this. Fine, it's all fine. We have implemented IT. We have gone ahead with Zoom. What about the security? What about web security, your personal security? We've seen a lot of breaches happening on the web right now. So we need to also look at that aspect. New IT infrastructure has to be there. If we are talking about using internet, how telecom companies can improve on that infrastructure today, that is also very, very important. So if we can do that, that would be a great value for the customers. And I'm sure at the same time, these companies can ask for the premium, which they are doing right now. They've already increased the prices. So considering that, we need to first look at the security. We have there was in Big's Basket also recently, there was 20 million data breach which happened. So in nutshell, I think we need to talk about automation everywhere. Automation everywhere. That could be through be it AV or VR, which can definitely have a great impact on the different industries.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Harmeet, for giving us a very diversified sector-specific strategy pointers. And Vivek, will you like to add over it some of it from your thoughts?
Sure, Anshul. When as Mr. Harmeet was talking about different strategies adopted across multiple industries as such, if there is one word which could be an amalgamation of all these pieces for different industries, it is pivot. So in the middle of your pandemic, what has happened is multiple clients of ours, and of course different other connects whom we are aware of, they have found new ways to serve customers, adjust sales and marketing tactics, and develop new offerings as well. Now, what has really happened is, at least over the past 8 months, and of course since the last couple of years as well, a huge part of the sales cycle is actually happening online. So at this point in time, what is very critical is those companies will turn out to be successful, which are able to meet where your customers and prospects are. That is critical. So if I was to take it across maybe a couple of fronts in a way, from a customer front, as I see it, one very essential thing which a lot of companies have to do is personalization. The earlier approach was in terms of mass marketing, that you bombard it and ultimately somebody is going to get hit and possibly purchase your product. So that has to change. So that is in terms of personalization approach. And one major thing which gets added over here is in terms of customer servicing. See, regardless, however your customer has, once you have a customer, it is very critical that the best brand sort of engage with him or her and continue that conversation, because it's not about just closing the first sale. It's about having that sustained engagement, and that can only happen when you have that push across multiple forums as such. Similarly, on a supplier side, if I would see it, I would say digital is again the push. The simplest of the aspects in terms of invoices as to why do we need a hard copy these days. If the same thing could be accomplished in a soft format, the hard copy really doesn't matter. So then digital has to be the way to go ahead. If I see it from an employee front, the other very important thing would be restructuring of the R&R incentive. So taking into account, because you have a hybrid workforce which is which is working these days. So this is how I see in terms of how the overall strategies need to be adopted across multiple perspectives, be it on the customer front, be it on the supply front, be it on the employee front. And of course, CRM platforms have always been there, and data analysis is the key. The more you analyze, the more you would be able to generate information that makes sense. So that's my take on this.
Very, very nice. And particularly, I like the point of personalization when it comes to, I would say, the marketing perspective. So Atul, how do you deal with, I would say, consumers what would be your main marketing arenas which you would loop in, particularly when you talk about a very well-informed consumer? And probably you may go first, and Harmeet can follow it up later.
See, what I think is customer these days, there is such a lot of information available to customer. You have to understand. Before you are there, I mean, you are there, you already are there, right? I mean, it is like that kind of a thing. So they know everything about you. So now companies should be I mean, they should be aware that they should not overpromise and underdeliver. But this is going to happen to most of the companies because when they talk about pitching a product or pitching anything, they will write all jargons on that. And a customer knows about it. I mean, we are seeing every day, and we also do it when we want to buy something. We know most of the things that is there. Understand? And and companies falter in delivering it. Maybe customer expectations goes to that level, and then you're not able to deliver it. So I think organization need to be really very be careful now, because customer knows everything. I mean, when you talk about my last point that I was talking about, that SEO and PP and all those things I was talking about, PPC. What is happening is they know everything. Customer, and this is going to be the tool now for all the organizations. This is the way digital and all this social, this thing is going to be. They will have data, they will have all the things. And organization and customer will get all these things in front of him. So what I am saying now, as an organization, we should not falter in delivering. That might be, I see most of the organization, following into that loop of, maybe, I lot of, in our kind of trade, there are a lot of companies which are now talking every sales is according, is around Corona. They're talking about Corona, viral kill and all those kind of things. And nothing of those things happen. It's not there. So this is a lot of, customers know. If I buy something, I know how this product will be a virus-free product. You please tell me how it happens. It does not happen like that. But then they harp on that thing. Companies are going to falter on that. This is I'm thinking that customers and organizations may falter on these things now. A lot of expectations of the customer will be there, and the deliverance, they'll fall short in deliverance.
In fact, you go to the market and every alternate product you would see would have a stamp on it in terms of a coronavirus-free product. So in fact,
and if you talk to them logically, ask the dealer or this thing, they don't know anything about it.
They don't know anything. Forget the dealers and distributors. So someone very close to me who is a country head of a great brand, so he messaged me, and I was wondering his products are coronavirus free. So I was just wondering, there's no relation of here and here. So everybody is. I think that's a way of great marketing. I think there is a amount of market also which has opened because people are really looking up to some solutions which would ensure that their health and the overall ambience and the environment, hygiene, etc. within the family and their livable, I would say, ecosystem is very well safe and secure. So there's a good amount of market for sure. So Harmeet, what are your views on that?
I think we've been we've been talking about internet, social media, apps. There are a lot of digital communications are happening. As a result, be it myself or overall, if we talk about the billion of people who are in the world, engaging much time on the internet today, have gained a lot of knowledge. The consumers, at times, we go to the customer, they know about our products more than we.
Yes.
They do know. Maybe they may not be knowing completely, but here and there they gather the information, and then they throw it to you in front of you for the process of negotiation, to be very honest.
Yeah.
Retail, it's different. Retail, you just can't do that. But again, organizations have really taken this change in the consumer behavior very seriously, and with this social media coming in, they have taken this social media and digital, making everything digital as an integral part of their marketing plans or strategies today. So, but then again, there are again challenges for them to implement. It's not that easy. Going on to online advertisements and all that is not easy. They can backfire you. We do talk about, at retailers getting onto this, there are million, like one complaint by any of your customers, you have complaint going and flowing like anything.
Yes.
So you got to be very, very, very serious. You got to be very choosy. You got to design it very well. What kind of algorithms or what kind of slogans you rather, I used the wrong word, algorithm, a slogan you need to use, the best way how you can do. But then again, companies use numerous social media today, be it like Facebook, WhatsApp, Snapchat, Twitter for that matter. They're doing whatever they could do. Technology innovation is happening, but then there are challenges which they have to overcome. Until they do that, they may not be able to, thrive it in a full way. We've been talking about, like, if you have good marketing strategy, you talk about word of mouth today. It spreads like anything. Anything a company does very well, it goes in a very big way. But something small complaint, small haywire, you have done something, it's all goes for a toss. So they have to really think very carefully on the consumer attitude, purchase intentions, their brand loyalty, and basis that they have to devise their strategies, what best they can introduce in terms of growing their business. Other thing which I feel today, overall scenario, companies, we talk about AI, we talk about machine language and all that, but in my opinion, solidly, people do lack sufficient knowledge on emerging these technologies. We have to spread. We have to, somewhere start and tell them that these technologies, be it AI or MI, machine learning language, they have to have a high level of adoptions. I'm not saying it's not happening. Internet of Things, we talk about its jargons, and people are talking about it. People are implementing it. And when I talk from a supply chain perspective, Industry 4.0 norms today, everybody is getting into a lot of innovations. They're trying to get into automation in the warehouse. They're using robotics, automatic. Everything is getting automated so that they can have zero level of discrepancies in their supply chain, their dispatches. Everything should be done in very well manner. So in nutshell, I think it's important that we implement these technology. At the same times, we don't forget that the relationship with the customer is very, very important. You got to be in constant touch base with these organizations, with your customers. You need to know their customer behaviors. You can get out with a lot of applications today. If customer wants to order something, a repeat order which he did it last buying in your system, you can easily, you can flash that, and it saves his time, it saves your time. He is able to place the same order, he can add little bit more things onto that. So if those kind of algorithms are made, those applications are made, I think that really works well for the organization.
Great, I would say really great words from you, Harmeet. And Harmeet also talked about the way the social marketing is really coming up of the age. So Vivek, my next question is to you, that modern consumers have become socially aware. So how do you think that the organization can leverage this aspect, particularly in today's digital world?
Well, social is the norm these days. Anshul, what I feel is the modern consumer is an extremely conscious consumer. So he or she is somebody who looks beyond the label. It's not just about that particular label alone. So these are these individuals are somebody who want to know more about the company rather than just the purchased device alone. So in that case, it's very critical for organizations that they treat social media as a very essential tool and ultimately refine their customer and marketing strategies as such. See, earlier, maybe you possibly just had an outlet at the end of the day, or to a max, maybe you just had a call center as one of the approaches. Now, what you're having is an omni-channel digital world. So in that case, you have multiple touch points which are established. So maybe it could be an Instagram, it could be a TikTok for that matter. So since there are multiple touch points, it is very critical that whenever organizations are branding, they must be very consistent in their approach and very recognizable. So that's one thing which is very important. And secondly, I would also say a major impetus goes in terms of enhancing the customer experience. because that is very critical across the entire cycle of ensuring that the consumers purchase products in the longer run, and having greater higher loyalty as well. So that is something which is very essential. The other thing which comes to my mind these days is an aspect of humanization. Now, earlier it was an idea of a faceless corporation. It's like I really didn't know what the organization stood for. But now I distinguish my purchase on the basis of what really it stands for, what are its approaches to multiple factors across different countries as well. So therefore, the key to, I would say, social media effectiveness is data at the end of the day. You have customers who are spread across wide demographics and geographies. And so it's very essential that, you manage all these sort of interactions, get data out of it, analyze them, and on the basis of these insights, ultimately customize your approach. So that's what I would say in terms of, social media approach.
Thank you, Vivek. And since we have come to the last 10-15 minutes, so I would just have one round each with everyone. I would say, and my last question is common for all. First with Atul, then to Harmeet, and then to Vivek. And the question is, in terms of that, it said that companies should invest in employee experience, and that ultimately takes care of customer experience. So what do you think? How can companies use technology for the enhancements of their sales force? And I'm sure this is very close to you.
See, Anshul, in an IDE, in an innovation-driven enterprise, what happens is the employee experience means what? The employee experience means knowledge gains and transfer. Okay, you have to think like that. What does a customer, what does an employee wants? So learning is what the employee wants, in this kind of, and so we need to do anything that will help them learn and will help enhance their the effectiveness of the sales force. Like seminars will help. Seminars like this will help. Maybe expert interviews might help. In a IDE where people want to learn and all those things. All those kind of things will help for those people. Okay, lectures will help. And what are we talking about? Trends. What are the trends? And those people will learn, and that will help them being there. Technology will help them like this. Look, in a SME now, what helps them? What is motivating an employee? Acceptance is more focused on incentives and personal gains. In a SME where maybe learning is not what he might be wanting. Though employee wants learning in any organization, because if he does not learn in any organization, for that matter, even in a small shop, if somebody is working, he wants to learn and gain and become better. If he does not do that, he leaves. But in these kind of organization, these personal gains and all these, maybe the incentives and all those things are things which will matter to them. So there might have to be, AI will come here by, if you talk about Salesforce, AI will come and, give them insight on, okay, you might be wanting to sell to this customer is not taking material from you. Data will help them. So, data will help them. So you can sell to this customer, this dealer has not taken material, or this customer has taken last time, what Vivek was telling and what Harmeet was also telling, and last experiences comes first. So all those things, all those data, all those things will help in organization like this. So, maybe my thing is employees, we need to provide them with all these technologies, inputs and all those things in those kind of organization. Where you help them earn money or help them learn all those things. This thing will help. Technology will help there.
Harmeet, any thoughts on the employee experience and the customer experience?
Very, very important, Anuj. I think it's never been more important to empower employees with the technology that helps them to be very happy and productive as a team. In the past, investments in the employees' experience were always or very often, put on the back burner. Today, it is becoming a critical factor in the survival of their business, and they keep looking at different ways how they can keep the employees happy. Obviously, one way which we talk about as a technology is important is it'll be again specific to industry. Like you said, working from anywhere today, or we were talking about working from home for IT industry. It's become a norm for future also. There are many companies have already announced that they are going to be allowing the employees to work from home till mid of next year or whatever. But at the same time, companies are really thinking how they can cut their cost. Uh, they're trying to keep a balance where they can give a rich experience to the employees and cut down on their cost. Uh, do they need big offices today? Do they need a large number of offices in each metropolitan cities? They may minimize it. They may cut down on or convert them into satellite offices near to the house where the employee stays. So that really works very well for those employees. That gives them a very comfort level. That gives them a very relaxed mode where, because today if I have to talk, if I have to go to Gurgaon today, it takes almost 2 hours in the morning from West Delhi and coming back. So 3 to 4 hours you have already spent traveling. So that those 3 to 4 hours can really be saved, and I can put much more productivity on enhancing my own knowledge for the product or overall, right? So I'm being very, very blunt here. So one can do that way. So that cuts, you're able to cut that and use it to a productive work. In my view, it's going to be a biggest changer. In terms of employee who is more stress-free and relaxed, and that would really help him preparing himself to enhance and give the customer experience better. Growth for the organization as well is better, more sales, better for everyone. Beyond the technical, organization also need to cultivate a positive culture. We all talk about technology, although we're talking technology here, but something which is very, very important, we miss out, that we need to cultivate a very, very positive culture along with the technology. So I'm talking from an employee perspective here. So if both the things are kept in tandem, the things are in balance, I think they won't think about quitting a company. I mean, in general, I'm saying it. So if employer maintains physical and mental health, which is very important within an organization, whether he is out of office, whether he is in the office, that is really going to boost the teamwork. That is going to boost the morale, overall morale of the every employee within the organization. So in nutshell, the positive employee experience will set your company to be resilient in the long run, not only immediate, but in the long run. Even if whatever happens, whatever shifts lies ahead, if we are keeping our employees happy, that would be a great asset for any organization.
Fantastic. I really like the point of culture, because I'm a very keen follower of spreading the word about digital culture. It's not about the digital in itself, it's also about the digital culture, and you touched my nerve, Harmeet. So Vivek, what are your views in terms of employee experience?
Anshul, I agree with both the wonderful speakers who had shared their thoughts. Honestly, there is an undeniable link in between customer experience and employee experience as such. And brands, they can't improve one without improving the other. At the end of the day, your employees can and they should be any brand's best spokesperson as such. Now, there is ample amount of research to indicate that as long as organizations which have an excellent customer experience have employees who are at least twice or thrice much more engaged than employees across other firms as such. So one of the speakers talked about happy employees and engaged employees. But what is happening these days is EE should not be an HR tick box alone. I mean that is somewhere where organizations need to change their approach. That it must not just be a policy mandate, but move transitioning from I would say an employee engagement to an employee experience based framework. Where you're focusing across multiple aspects. So, maybe you're working across employee welfare. Maybe one part of it is, of course, fun at work, which is nothing but your engagement. Similarly, your rewards and recognition, working across L&D. So, unfortunately, the norm is that whenever the word engagement is used, people think in terms of picnics or, just enjoyment activities. But if you're able to provide your employee multiple aspects of these sorts, you would boost the experience in the longer run. Similarly, technology could be used for virtual engagements of the sales force. They are widespread these days. And even if they might be spread across different geographical locations, you can still touch base with them through virtual technologies. Last but not the least, I would say hygiene factors such as having IT and HR help desks for the sales force. These are all the small little things which if organizations focus on, ultimately results in a fact that your EX gets enhanced, which ultimately results in your CX having a very higher curve.
Anshul, I want to add one thing more here. Vivek, you highlighted a very the second last point which you mentioned about this HR and IT working, right? There have been a lot of blame games at times. Who is going to support? Who is going to drive this kind of program for the employees? Is it IT or HR? That's again at times becomes a very big question.
So,
who is going to drive it?
Creating values may do so for multiple.
That's I was coming to that. That's where you can help a lot. Absolutely.
Anshul has done it earlier also.
Yeah.
Anshul was the IT guy and he headed the HR thing and all those things. He has done it.
Yeah, he has been in a different portfolios, managed different portfolios. I don't forget the meetings which I had with him.
IT guy handling HR was a very, very skeptical thing when it came first. And then in next 3, 4, 5 months, everything, all the landscape changed. So
Absolutely. That's the reason he's in creating values.
Yeah.
That's the reason he's creating values there now. Great.
Thank you. So I think we have come to the end, and I would like to have a final concluding remarks if you would like to share, starting from you, Vivek, then Harmeet, and then finally Atul in the last, in a reverse order this time. So Vivek, you go first. Any concluding remarks you would like to share?
So I would just say this, Anshul, that organizations are investing a lot in terms of technology enhancements, be it in terms of upgrades or going for different softwares as such. But the one thing I would like to highlight over here is they must not be in a rush just to adopt new features and technology just for the sake of it. But see, which gives them benefit at the end of the day. And yes, you have to take a risk because without that, you're not going to reach anywhere. People also talk about skill enhancements, that it's not just about the technology part, but the sort of skills which are needed to, succeed in the next 2 decades are going to be much more different than your traditional skills which you have. Now, for that sort of I would say a sales skill set or a marketing skill set, I think one very critical thing which organizations can also consider is in terms of having possibly assessment and development center. So that's what comes to my mind. Having the right set of people, grooming them, identifying what are their learning opportunities. Because that is all would result in transforming the way you sell. Because until and unless that happens, you really cannot expect your sales to go 10x. We talk about sales sort of quadrupling and all those sort of pieces, but that is only going to happen if you are focusing at the ground in terms of how well your skills get enhanced.
Great. Harmeet, last words from you.
I second to what Vivek mentioned, but then, it's all good. We are changing. The world is changing. Organizations are changing. They're adopting new technology. Consumer minds are changing. Consumers are gaining. Organizations are going to gain with the help of technology. But most important, let's be good human beings. That's all I want to say.
Very nice. Atul.
Yeah, I just want to say organizations should adopt the soul or the essence of adopting technology. It should not be just like a facade. We want to do this. Some consultant comes and they say, okay, is everybody doing like this? So no, we should also do it. It is lost in between. So they should understand the essence and get that, adopt that soul of why this technology is required. And it is very, very necessary. We have seen that in organizations earlier, in organizations that we have worked. You were one part of that, Anshul, but that soul has to be adopted by the organization, just not for the sake of doing something they should.
Sure. I would say it was really listening to your, I would say, all the thoughts, and also particularly in the concluding section. Some of my thoughts, if I have to conclude with it, would be probably, I would say COVID has taught us one thing. We don't really need to bank on strategies too much. I think strategies may fail because nobody knows the future. It's very difficult to predict anything. I think organizations also need to think of, uh, is it time? Is it the right time for us to have a chief change officer also? I think every organization should seriously consider, or probably at least to the minimum, start seeing every CHO they hire or they have currently as a chief change officer. I think that is very, very important. Technologies might come and go. And we talked about over here, probably by the time our kids grow up, there would have been a 3x shift in terms of the technology, as we had seen from our previous generation to now. So technologies may come and go, but I think couple of pieces which would never go away is in terms of the adaptability to the change. And second, I would say the people mindset. I think that also people in terms of both consumers and also in terms of employees. Employees are becoming more aspirational, and consumers are becoming want to
More
see
demanding.
something which is more personalization. I think that is where that is a bridge. I think technology is the best platform as of now to bridge it. So I think with that, I really would like to thank all of our speakers, Atul, Harmeet, and Vivek. I think it was really wonderful to have all three of you to and to listen to your great, great wisdom of words. Really thankful once again.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Anshul.
Harmeet.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anshul.
Thank you, Vivek. We'll
It was
meet.
wonderful interacting with you, Mr. Atul.
Yeah, same.
Same here.
Bye,
Sorry,
Harmeet.
you want to
Bye,
say
Anshul.
something?
No, I was just saying thank you so much. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks
And,
for.
all right.